What's up, guys? Auto Fanatic. Another new car review, this time a brand new BMW G87 M2 manual. So FYI, a lot of guys on Instagram think this is my car. No, this is not my car. This is a good friend of mine's and a client's car. He just picked it up and I just did the full body kit on it. I did a bunch of stuff and I'll talk more about the mods as the video goes on. But this has been a pretty controversial car since it came out. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I've been driving it every day for about a week and I really like the car a lot. The number one thing is I like the size compared to my G80. It's much smaller. It just feels more reminiscent of what an M3 really is. And also when you look at the styling, whether you love it or hate it, this car truly, in my opinion, is a modern interpretation of the classic E30 M3. Why? Because this is the only M3 that truly has the bulged wide body effect, front and rear, similar to the E30. That car is a classic from the 80s. We all know and love that car. But if you think about it, we're in 2024 now. So we're like, almost 40 years after that car was introduced. So this, I feel, is like a modern interpretation of that car in a lot of ways. Even though it's a lot bigger, a lot heavier, a lot more powerful, more tech, I just feel the design language kind of really does have a throwback to that. Also, they didn't do the stupid grille like on the G80 M3 and M4s. I prefer this significantly better in terms of the aesthetics versus the G80 M3 that I had. A couple of cool things about this car. Also, they went with the conventional twin kidney grille. I did the full aero kit. I'll put links to this. Everything came from IND Distribution. Some of the things about the design, like this is a little funky. I don't really know why this is there, but I probably would source something aftermarket to kind of close this up or put a mesh grill in there. I think it would just look a little bit better, but there's an amount of aftermarket parts for this car that really make this car a very fun tuner car. Now, if you guys watch, you paid attention to the title of my video, yes, this is an alternative to a new Ford Mustang GT. Why? Because it's rear-wheel drive, it's manual, and it's priced in the $70,000 to $75,000 range when you get it all fully loaded up. There are not many cars right now in this segment that you could kind of get if that's what you're looking for. You want a rear-wheel drive coupe that's manual transmission, kind of in that same price bracket. Those are the only two options. There's no more Camaro. You can't get, like I said, a Corvette with a manual. The Porsche GT4, that's a mid-engine car, doesn't really compete with this car. So this is going to be a cool test. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the car, and then I'm going to take it on the same roads that I did the review of the M3 CS, which is the F80. Love that car, still love that car. I also still say it's a little bit more fun than this. But this is an excellent car, and like I said, the owner of this car has a lot of cars. He just got a brand new GT3 with a manual. He's got a lot of serious sports cars. So this particular car was for his daily driver to drive in the New York City metro borough area. That's why he wanted a car. He didn't need anything specific. He didn't need anything over the top. He wanted to have a fun little car that he could park in the garages in New York City, drive a stick, have the tech, and kind of have the BMW build quality. So he went to go look at the new Mustang, and he called me up. He's like, Phil, not for nothing, for this money, the car feels so cheap and the interior materials feel like garbage. He says, the BMW is so much better. And he walked into the showroom and he kind of grabbed this thing right off the floor. And this one also, it has the carbon fiber exterior package, which is pretty rare. If you look at all the cars on Auto Trader and Cars.com, this has the carbon mirrors, it's got the carbon exposed roof, and it also has the carbon rear spoiler. Now, a lot of them don't have that. So this car was spec'd out really nicely. Now, on the back of the car, the design is kind of like, it's not my favorite, but it's also not as offensive as most people are making it seem. And I think when you do some mods, they look really nice. So I took out the red reflectors over here. We put these new black pieces in. It's got the black exhaust tips. I also did the blacked out M badge. We did IND Future Classic spacers, 15 millimeter, 15 millimeter, 12 millimeter. We did the carbon fiber skirts. I also did the Rogue Engineering short shift kit parts, made a huge difference. Now, we have not decided, well, the owner of the car has not decided, what do you want to do with the suspension and what do you want to do with the exhaust? That's going to be coming in probably a future updated video. But right now, all we did to the car is the spacers, the body kit, the short shift kit, And like some mostly cosmetic stuff. But I think this car with the skirt kit, it looks really, really cool. And I think it makes a really, really nice platform for, you know, guys to get this car and mess around with it and play around with the aftermarket and kind of personalize it, individualize it the way you want. But super cool car, very well built. Now, another thing too, I was concerned because rumor has it that this is built in the Mexico factory. The quality of the car is identical to my G80, so the quality control is there. The fit, the finish, the panel gaps, the paint quality, it's BMW. It's gonna be, you know, one of the best out there. Their QC is out of control, amazing. So this is in Brooklyn gray metallic. Believe it or not, on the camera it looks like a primer gray, but it actually has metallic gold flakes in it. It's a really interesting color. And this one also has the bimetal machine face wheels. Now, something that does annoy me a little bit about this, now on my M3, it didn't really look as bad. You got a 20-inch in the back and you got a 19 in the front. You look at the tire in the back. You have a 285/30/20, so it's got a much smaller profile. For some reason, this has the smaller, the smaller wheel in the front and just a thicker sidewall. Proportionally, it looks a little funky for my taste. I would probably just do a 20 front and rear. Or some guys do the 20s in the front and 21s in the rear. If you're doing aftermarket, that looks really, really cool on these. But overall, you know, a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, I hate BMW. Not really. I just didn't love my G80 for, the front end aesthetic, and I also didn't like the carbon bucket seats. But I got to say, for the money, you're getting a high quality car. The performance is there. If you look at some of the performance features of this car, it's right up there with, you know, the new Mustang GT. So it's not a slouch. It's not a dog. And the tuner potential is absolutely incredible. So let me show you the interior real quick. I don't know, I like the look of the car. Call me crazy, but that's just my opinion. So inside the interior, like I said, you don't have leather wrapping. They don't offer like a full leather interior package in this, but everything is nicely stitched, good quality. This is a little tacky. I don't really like this, so I'm gonna make something possibly out of carbon fiber or leather. I'm gonna do something custom for this car. Stay tuned, and I'll do a video on that too. This one has the multi-way power seats with the blue stitching. Now they have an option where you can kind of get the red and blue patches. This one didn't have it, but this also lights up, which is pretty cool. You got a back seat that's cramped and just as useless as a Mustang, so that's another reason why I would say this compares with the Mustang in a lot of ways. You got this also is an option, the M Performance Alcantara console. I absolutely love it. Carbon fiber interior package, and it's the same G80 screen, you know, the one that I hate, the aesthetics, but you know, for some reason, the more I've been driving this car around, this also has the heads-up display, which I'll turn off for the POV drive video. But the car drives good. It does everything you want it to do. The shifter feels significantly better with the Rogue Engineering parts. And it's got good comfort, you know, good room, good versatility. And like I said, it's a fun little car to toss around. And granted, you know, it is a shorter wheelbase from the G80 M3. So I'll talk about it more when we go in the drive video. You do feel a lot more of the bumps into the back of your seat. But with these comfort seats, it's not really that big of a deal. And like I said, we live in New York, so the roads here are absolutely terrible. But if you live somewhere normal and you have good driving roads, you're not even going to notice it. But even on the new S650 Mustang and the S550s, you feel the same exact effect on the roads of New York. So very, very similar in terms of the suspension architecture. And believe it or not, Mustang and Ford, they did copy a lot of the suspension architecture when they developed the S550 from BMW and Audi. FYI, if you guys didn't know that, go look back when that car came out in 2014, 2015. That was their benchmark. They took the BMWs and the Audis and they kind of made an American version of that type of architecture. So give the car a little bit of a walk around. I mean, I don't know. I think the car is cool. It definitely is. It's definitely less offensive in the front end than the G80 M3. I don't care. I just don't like the G80 M3, the styling of it. Another thing too, the car is just too damn big. It really is. When I was driving that car, you know, driving it by myself 99% of the time, I turn my head and I look at the back seat and it's like, I don't need a car that has almost like a limousine 7 Series rear passenger room when I don't have any passengers in the car. That's why I feel that this is a true hallmark to a modern interpretation of what an M3 is. Now, granted, BMW went crazy with the designations of models when the F80 came out, when they created the M4 as the coupe and then the M2. But to be honest with you, this feels more at home as a modern interpretation of what an M3 coupe should be. Like I said, it doesn't have a lot of soul and character in terms of the engine, but this S58 motor is a freaking monster. I'll pop the hood and I'll show you. It's identical to the G80 M3. All right, guys, pop the hood. So just to show you, this is the same power plant and same setup as the G80 M3 that I own. So FYI, if you guys want to do carbon fiber air intakes or you want to do the CSL brace, everything is bolt-on. Everything is pretty much universal, except the engine tuning on this one. The mapping is definitely a little bit down on horsepower, but to be honest with you, it doesn't really feel it. But also another thing too, you don't get any carbon fiber or this doesn't feel like aluminum. It sounds like steel to me. But I think the front fenders are composite, and I think there's some aluminum in the car. But the car's pretty heavy. It's not a lightweight car at any means. But let's get the camera strapped in. We're going to go for a drive. We're going to do a POV, and I'll talk some more about the G87 M2 right now. We're going to go into M2 mode, confirm we got everything. Oh, gear shifts on. Sport Plus, Sport Plus, Sport, comfort for the brakes, okay? Then we got this traction control configuration. So we're gonna go, before I get started, the one ergonomic that affects me in this car is where the window switches are, because I have long arms. You can see, look how long my arms are. So you have to shrug your left shoulder back to put the windows down. So I'm 5'10". It probably would bother you if you're 5'10" or shorter. If you're 6 foot or above and you got the seat all the way back, this probably wouldn't bother you. But there's something in this cabin that's different in scale to the G80 M3. I just want to let you guys know, this is the one little quirk that drives me nuts, is where these window switches are. Everything else feels exactly the same. The dashboard is definitely a little bit more smaller in scale than the G80 M3. But just wanted to make that clear. I don't know, I can't really turn this off, but I'm gonna leave it on anyway. I don't know if it's gonna flicker or not, but we're just gonna jump on this road. Another thing I notice about this car is the exhaust seems a little louder. I don't know if that's coming through the speakers, but it's really a fun little car. This doesn't do the burbles and pops like the G80 did. It's probably just, like I said, it's all software driven. You can just turn all of that stuff on and off. But the multi-way seats are exceptional. I'm extremely comfortable. I don't have that nut buster infecting where my leg is when I'm clutching in and out. But the car is a fun car. I mean, the more that I'm driving it, the more I'm getting used to it. Now, one little negative on this particular model, this one has the Pirelli P0 tires. If you guys are familiar with the G80X platforms, everybody prefers the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. It's a superior tire. The Pirellis are a little sketchy in the cold and the rain. I'm not a huge fan of them, and I also feel that's what's probably going to limit this car's handling out of the box. I mean, it's super easy to drive. Shift feels pretty good. It's not good like a Camaro ZL1 or a Shelby or a Porsche GT car, but it's okay. And like I said, this is not his only performance car. So I think for a daily, I would be pretty happy with driving something like this every day. I don't think this is as offensive as the G80 M3. I think the number one thing that I like better in this car is the comfort. And my friend's got the G80 M3 with the regular seats. And I mentioned that in that review video as well. What a difference the seats make. The carbon buckets look cool. Don't get me wrong, they look cool. But you can't live with those in the New York metro area on a daily basis. It's just not happening. The Rogue Engineering parts really made the shifter feel that much better. Not perfect for the top mount linkage design that BMW has been using for a long time, but I think the active suspension is good for the street. I don't think it's the best for someone that wants a little bit more out of this car. I think the aftermarket is probably, where it would be with a set of Öhlins or motion control, or some other company would probably make a really good coilover system. And look, this is the same road that I drove the F80 CS. I love that car. That car feels a little bit more planted and a little bit more tossable than this, and I think it's probably because there is a weight difference, a pretty substantial weight difference between the F80 CS and this, and I think the way that car's geometry is dialed in with the E-diff and everything else that's going on, it has a really, really exceptional feel. I love that car. That car, and I mentioned in my review video, if you guys go on the channel from a couple of weeks back, that's the only car that I feel closely resembles the Alfa Romeo in terms of fun factor, sound, vibration, like giving you like that sensations when you drive. And look, this road is pretty busted up. Check it out. It's kicking up gravel everywhere. But it's super compliant. It's not bouncing me out of the seat. Now, I do feel more, you know, impacts into the seat from the back of the car, but it's not to the point where it's like giving me a backache or it's annoying me at all. Oh, that was a big bump right there. I felt that on the left rear wheel. Now, the one complaint on this car from a lot of owners, even my friend that's got the M3, it doesn't have like a lot of that massive torque up front, but you know, BMW designed it like that for a reason, because the F80 had so much torque down low and it had such a sketchy chassis, the standard model, that people were like wiping out with them. I remember when I first took delivery of my F80, I almost killed myself in that car after like a very short amount of time. I didn't trust it. I didn't feel confident in that car. And then you get into like, you know, the CS, I'm driving it 6 years after it came out, and it's like a totally different car. And BMW, I believe, is planning on coming out with a CS version of this, which is probably going to be incredible. The only downside, it's going to have the automatic transmission. Not saying that's a bad thing. I just think the DCT is a little bit more engaging and fun with the noises and the way it downshifts and it snaps your neck. And this road is chewed up. This road is really chewed up. But we're gonna go on the same route. Oh my God! Can you guys hear the gravel? This is so disgusting to live up here. The amount of money it costs to live, and this is what we got to drive on. But we're gonna go on the same route that I did the F80 CS review, because that's a nice, tight, short transitions of back roads, and we're gonna kind of see what this thing could do. But apparently, there's a very limited color palette for these cars. If this was me and I was gonna order one, I think I would probably stick it with a safe of getting like, you know, sapphire black. Just get it all blacked out. I would do all the carbon fiber bits. I would change the suspension. I wouldn't do lowering springs. I think the lowering springs on this car are good, but when you're on the street, especially like the New York roads, you feel a lot of limitations in the dampening. And that's something that I don't like about just doing lowering springs in certain cars. Certain cars, they work well, certain cars, they don't. I think this car would be better suited for like a full-blown adjustable coilover suspension. Lower it down. I would do probably a raised rear carbon wing, and I would do maybe like a satin gold champagne style wheel. So let's break off on this road. You know, steering's a little numb. This is like right there, that little short transition. That's where the F80 CS blows it away, and even my Alpha. It just has more on-center feel. This also could be the tires. You know, the Pirelli tires on this car, I just don't like them. I don't think anybody does. That's why most guys that get these cars with the Pirellis, they throw the tires up on Facebook Marketplace or on the forums immediately, because everybody complains about these Pirelli tires. And some of these cars come with the Michelin, some of them don't. I just think it's the way the supply and demand situation is. But see, right there, it felt a little loose in the back. So that's where I'm saying, like, the stock suspension on this, I would say, is good for the street, not the best for your favorite tight, twisty back road. But, you know, the more you get used to the car, the more you can kind of modify it and tweak it and set it up the way you want it. And I'm all for that. Sometimes having a car that's perfect out of the box is no fun owning, because then you can't really do much to it. And the BMW aftermarket is pretty substantial. Go with the second. Okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, she's got plenty of power. You know, plenty of power. So now you're going to play around on the back roads. You're going to be mostly in second and third gear, maybe fourth if there's an open stretch. But no, it's got good power. It really does. Plenty of power to have some fun. And once this guy is going to get out of my way, has a little bit of a gurgle down low, but not much. Oh, the shifter feels so much better. Not perfect, but it feels a lot better. It's smooth. There's a little bump steer effect on the front end. Not much, but it's just there. It's just something that I notice. Not a huge fan of the thick steering wheel. On my G80, I custom made a thinner steering wheel. I took the foam off and I re-cored it. I mean, I think you could whip these roads in this car a lot faster than a Mustang, in my opinion, unless you're going to have a GT350R. But, you know, Mustang's a big car. It's definitely a big car, and it's a heavy car as well. It's not a lightweight. But yeah, she's fun. It's a fun little car, man. I'm enjoying this. I honestly, I would be very happy owning something like this for a daily driver. And then have something a little bit more aggressive for my weekend car. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm really enjoying this car. I hope you guys get a good effect from this video. And I think you should go check one of these out if you're interested in a new BMW and you don't need the giant back seat, or you don't want to have the, what I consider the ugly front end. I consider one of these, man. This is a cool car. Just mod it up. Don't keep it stock, because like I said, stock is boring. And when there's so many other options to personalize these cars, why not take advantage of it? I mean, look at this road. It's totally busted up. It's windy. Man, it's a fun road. I never was on this road before. All right, let me get away from that car. This is so much more fun than the G80 M3 in so many ways. I'm more comfortable. I like the size. I could judge the road a lot better because of the size of the car. I just like it. So, hope you guys like this video on the brand new G87 M2. As we do some more mods in the future on this car, we'll probably get some more videos on the channel. But post it in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you love it or hate it? But one thing I'm going to say, and this is across the board, I don't care what car you have. A lot of people that hate on these cars either don't own them or have the money to own them. So FYI, I mean, I hated certain things because of other cars that I own. But other than that, I don't think they're bad cars. I never said that they were junk. They don't drive good. They really do everything really, really well. It's just like you have to love the tech. You have to love the aesthetic of the car and stuff like that. But if you want a smaller rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, sporty car to knock around with and have some fun with on the weekends, definitely consider a G87 M2 to be on your shopping list. I mean, there's nothing out there. Everybody's killing off the manual transmission. Everything's going EV, and it's just things are getting worse. So for us driving enthusiasts, we don't have a lot of options. So take it with a grain of salt. Definitely take one for a test drive if you can, and I think you're really going to enjoy one of these cars. I think it's a lot of fun, and it definitely has exceeded my expectations. But you got to modify the shifter. Definitely got to modify the shifter. But now this thing is fun, man. Absolutely fun. You know, I don't consider this the one car solution where it's like the ultimate car on the weekends and then it's like your daily driver on, during the week. No, I think this is kind of like a good compromise of, it kind of does everything. And that's what I said. These BMWs, they do everything well. I don't think I would take this car to the track as is, but do the suspension over, take it to the track, put a carbon fixed back seat in the car, do whatever you want. I think the car would definitely be fun on the track. Definitely with the smaller size, but yeah, it's a cool car. Nice, beautiful day. Finally got a beautiful day after having like a tornado rip through and then a massive earthquake 2 days later. I don't know what's going on, but thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more content on the Auto Fanatic channel, and I'll also bring you guys some updates on the current Ferrari restoration that we're doing at the shop and a couple of other new projects that I'm working on soon. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one soon.
Everybody care. Take me away from here. Everybody's so fake, everybody's so fake, I swear. But I don't wanna go right there. Everybody's so fake.